We begin with breaking news and, well, sad news. The passing of actor Malcolm-Jamal Warner, best known and beloved for his groundbreaking role as Theo Huxtable on the groundbreaking Cosby Show. A source close to the actor tells CNN he died in a drowning accident while vacationing with his family in Costa Rica.
Yeah, we just got confirmation from authorities there that the drowning happened yesterday. The acclaimed actor, musician, inspirational speaker, and cultural force was just 54 years old. Joining us now with more details is CNN entertainment correspondent Elizabeth Wagmeister, along with CNN entertainment reporter Lisa France. Elizabeth, what else are you learning here?
So I just got off the phone with a source in the last hour who sadly did confirm this tragic news that Malcolm-Jamal Warner was on a family vacation with his wife and daughter when he suffered this fatal drowning accident, obviously coming as such a shock to his family, to his fans around the world. I mean, this is a true accident, and his family, I hear, is just besides themselves, as you can understand. Now, I do want to note that this was not just a TV icon who had such profound impact on American television and American culture, but he was working up until his death at the young age of 54 years old. Many child stars have a tough time when they are on an iconic role. They can be typecast, but he continued working repeatedly throughout the years. And I have to tell you, everybody who worked with him loved him. He had a stellar reputation. I was talking with someone who worked very closely with him, who is crying and just cannot believe that this has happened. So he had a wonderful reputation on and off the screen, and I had the chance to meet him when he was on the show, The People versus O.J. Simpson, and he was just such a lovely man. So this is just tragic news that will absolutely impact so many, those who know him and those who felt like they know him from their television screens.
The Costa Rican authorities are saying that his drowning death took place at Playa Grande, which is a popular beach there. I just happened to have been there with my family a couple weeks ago, the very same beach, and it's got surf, like a lot of beaches do, and sometimes surf can be unpredictable, and it sounds like he got caught in this surf and dragged out. People on the beach tried to help him, and unfortunately he passed away. Lisa, the cultural significance of the Cosby Show at a time in the late 80s and early 90s when a big portion of this country would sit down and watch the same show on the same night, which is something that just doesn't happen anymore, just tiny little fractions of the population, but particularly for, as we were speaking in the last hour, to Bomani Jones and others about how impactful it was to have this Cosby family represented in the way it was. Successful, middle-class family, just what a cultural touchstone it was, and Warner's involvement in that was central.
Absolutely. And Jim, Malcolm-Jamal Warner was family. He was absolutely family, and the black community is grieving, just like they did with Chadwick Boseman and Kobe Bryant, because when you have a black celebrity, especially a black man who is representing the black community, you know, representation really does matter. We say that, but it's so very true. And when it came to Malcolm-Jamal Warner, he was like our brother. He was like our cousin. You know, I have a funny story in that back in 2017, I interviewed him, and he was talking about being a brand new dad. His daughter was 4 months old at the time, and he was so excited about that. He also made me promise not to call him Theo. He said as much as he loved the role, you know, his name was Malcolm. And a year later, I was supposed to interview him and do a set visit on the set of The Resident, which was another show that he was beloved for. And I got sick. I caught the flu, and I posted about not being able to see him and not being able to go to see Childish Gambino. I had tickets with friends, and he came in my comments on social media, and he said that, you know, basically he was sorry that I was sick, but could he get those Childish Gambino tickets? And that was Malcolm-Jamal Warner. He was just like funny. And then his co-star came in and co-signed and said, yeah, we're down for that 100%. Like, can we get your tickets? And I mean, that was the thing. Like, we felt like we knew him from TV, but also, as Elizabeth points out, he was just beloved as a human being, as a person, as a man who loved music, as a man who loved culture. And he fully understood what he meant, Jim, to the black community, playing that role, being able to see an affluent black family on TV. It was the first time, it was groundbreaking, and it still hits hits you in the gut when you watch it, how important and vital the Cosby Show was. And this is, I can't state enough what a huge loss this is. This literally feels like we have lost a family member today.
It certainly does. And stand by for us, if you would, Lisa and Elizabeth, as we bring in Van Jones, CNN host and founder of DreamMachine.org. He's on the phone with us. Van, how are you reflecting on this?
Well, I mean, it's just devastating. I mean, to the extent that the Huxtables were, everybody's family. I mean, Bill Cosby in those days, Mr. Huxtable was everybody's dad, and that made Theo everybody's little brother. And it really was the first time that you saw black affluence on television. There have been other shows with black people. Sanford and Son was important, but he was a junk dealer and he lived in a junkyard. It was, you just didn't see it. The Jeffersons were important, but they had just made it and they lived in some kind of skyrise, but it wasn't a family. They were grown up. Suddenly, here's a family with a mom and a dad, and they're both professionals, and the kids are relatable, but they're expected to go to college. These are things that were completely revolutionary, and that show had a Super Bowl sized audience every night. It's hard for people to understand. 20, 30, plus million people watching every single night. I mean, every single week, night that it came on. It was mandatory television for America, and it changed people's perception. I don't think you got Barack and Michelle Obama without the Huxtables. And so Theo, in particular, for me, as a young black guy, he's the first guy that I saw on TV who I could relate to. I had two professional parents. They didn't let me get away with much, and and he was a role model, and he was very, very important. And then also, it didn't just stop with the Huxtables. I mean, he went on, to do other shows, to do other things, but that was the iconic role. And it was groundbreaking, and it gave me something to shoot for, something to aim for. It gave me something to model myself after. I've talked to people, cast members today, off the record, who are just devastated, just literally devastated. It's so unexpected. It's so unfair. But I'm going to tell you right now, everybody of my age, people 40s, 50s, early 60s, this is a family member that's been lost for all of us, and especially for people in the African American community.
The show went off the air 33 years ago, I think, 1992. Since then, he has continued his career. He won a Grammy for R&B performance. He had a show opposite Eddie Griffin, Malcolm and Eddie, and more recently a podcast. And I just want to quote Van to you, him on the podcast just last year, speaking about some of the cultural issues that you were just describing and his place in them. He said, when we talk about the black community, we tend to speak of it as a monolith when the reality is there are so many different facets of the black community. And we wanted to have a space where we can really explore, discuss, and acknowledge all those different aspects. He's someone who tried to continue a public discussion of so many of the issues I think you were talking about that were groundbreaking at the time of this show.
Yeah. Look, I mean, he used his platform very well. And, also he talked about mental health issues. He talked about things that, were taboo. In the black community, it's just now become okay to say you're not okay. We have this, cultural expectation that we're tough, we're strong, can handle anything. The strong black woman, the strong black man. We're human beings. We're human beings. We have good days, we have bad days, we have strengths, we have weaknesses, but this kind of facade that we've had to put up, he pulled that down. He said, look, we need to talk. And, he used his platform well. And that's really all you can do, I think. If you're not going to be, the president or the pope, where you've got, some institutional power behind you, what you can do is use your voice to try to help people.